How's it going, everyone? It's just me and Frank today. Brian might be hopping on here in a little bit. Oh, there he is. What's up, Brian? You're on mute. I gotta make it so it lets people in off of mute, but
Hi
what's
guys,
up, Brian?
keep you waiting.
It's all good. I was just telling everyone if you were gonna join or not, but we got the plan. We got some cool stuff to show today. So Brian, unless you want to start by saying anything, I was just ready to hop into the goal calculator. There have been a couple changes there, and more than anything, the new goal features that are launching soon. Do we have a date yet on that?
Probably tomorrow.
Cool.
Yeah,
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
I was just with our dev team going over that. So the goal is to get that out by tomorrow.
Cool. Yeah, it's really good timing. I mean, just for a goal push and a goal focus in general, a lot of people start doing their business planning with all of their agents as soon as like last week. So, really dialing in all these goals and then going into 2020 with them all set up will be really cool. So,
yeah, so maybe just to start, Zach, just to give some updates. I mean, from day one, we really wanted to have goals for all of our activities, and then we also wanted seasonal goals, like so that for the year you can see each month. And a lot of people requested that. We just started getting so many requests for other things that it was like, okay, we're going to get these other things done. And with it being the beginning of Q4, we know you're getting ready to plan and do all of your stuff for next year. So we wanted to do two things to make it so you can be more efficient. The first is be able to just really plug in that seasonality, because we know seasonality exists for every business. And the second thing there is we really wanted to make sure also with that seasonality that you could view how you're doing compared to those goals on a monthly basis instead of that just being consistent across the entire year. So those are big changes there. And then the other change, really on the activities. I mean, activities, as we all know, are really what drive the business, right? Those are all of your lead measures. So it's one thing to tell your agents, record your open houses, go in and log them here, but it's another thing to say, hey, you know what, guys, I expect you to do 2 open houses every week. And to put that goal in there so you can actually, when you're going in to see their numbers, you can actually, the first thing you want to do with what Zach's about to show you is when you go into a meeting, a one-on-one with your agents, the first thing I would go to personally is after this is the activities, and then go to the upper part of the dashboards, because I guarantee you whatever is going on down below is going to have a direct reflection on what's going on up above. So with that, I'll let you jump in, Zach.
Yeah. Let's see. Do you have your activity goal set up in staging?
I believe I do, yes. If you go to October, I believe I do.
Okay. I'll pull it up. We can set them anyways. So kind of what Brian was talking about, any good coaching is focused on those lead measures. So this conversations and appointments, those are lead measures, but really all of these activities as well. They're the things that are creating next month's or the next 6 months success basically are these activities. So previously it's just been your number up here of how many dials you've done and where you're actually at for the year as well. So this is I have my filter set up for October. So it's showing me no dials. Yeah, go ahead.
Maybe go to January, Zach. Maybe that's the month, or September. Actually, I think if you go to September, it'll pull it. I think that's when I set it.
All right. Cool. There we go. Well, we can set some up here in a second.
Okay.
But you'll notice now that there's this goal pacing bar, so you can set goals for any of these activities and then be able to just track that progress, just similar to how you would with these different circles. So that's going to be under account goals. Once again, it's not live yet, but it should be here in tomorrow or the next couple of days. The goal page is going to look something like this. So you'll have your yearly goals up here. What kind of volume, what's your average price point, and how many units do you want to do? That's all you'll set for the year. And then the rest of it, you'll be able to set monthly. So if I open up, do September, I can see these goals. And so what I've been hearing from a lot of people is they're either going to go in and set these all, and I think it's good to do it both ways, but setting them all up front to say, hey, here's what I want to do for each year based on, or each month based on seasonality, based on what my, lagging goals are. I'll be able to set all these lead measure goals. And then each month you could also revisit that and say, hey, last month you're a little behind, so let's push it a little harder this month, right? That's kind of the feedback that I've been getting, and being able to come in and kind of set these up front as like your business plan, but then revisiting them in your one-on-ones each month to make sure that the goals are still, putting you on the right track for where you want to be. So Brian, I don't know, what do you want to add there? It's kind of a lot here, but.
Go up to January and let's see if I set up goals for January.
Yeah, let's see. There we go.
There you go. So let's go view the January. As you can see, I've added goals for each activity in January.
Is this? Let's see. Am I on myself?
No, it could be that Trevor and I were just in playing with this and we did something.
Could always be the case. Yeah, anyways, what were you going to say, Brian?
So anyway, essentially though, if you look at this, and if I, again, on the open house, you can see I've done 4. Well, if I had a goal of 8 for the month, you would see that I only got halfway there. But in the past, it hasn't been that way, right? You haven't been able to set a goal and actually hold them accountable to that particular goal. Or with 5-star reviews, hey, I expect you to get 3 5-star reviews a week, right? Now you can actually hold them accountable to those types of things, which in the past was really difficult when these were just random numbers.
Cool. Yeah, I think it's a big update. I know it's been a lot of work on kind of re-architecting a lot of this stuff, so it's gonna be really exciting. Anything else there, Brian? I can move on to the goal calculator.
Hey, this is Frank.
Yeah.
So I saw some early Trevor stuff. Oh, he just responded to me too. So he said likely before the release, I saw it looked pretty cool, is he's going to have a copy to next month feature.
Yeah.
In that, or control in that, as well as percentage increase. So it'll make it really nice. So you can say, well, for this month, I want to increase it 5%, as well as having to retype all those goals month to month is a little arduous. So it's a pretty cool little control that he'll get added to that, which will make it really easy for your goal setup.
Yeah, thanks, Frank. So we were actually looking at that today, and that's basically our designers working on that. So essentially, if you have these goals set for January and you want to duplicate those for February, you can do that so that you're not having to type them all in again. And then if let's just say you're going from maybe October to November and you want to decrease that by 20% because November is typically a slower month, you could just decrease your goals by 20% by just telling it to do that. So we're really building the UI stuff right now to make that easier, so you're not having to go in and manually do that all the time. So thanks, Frank. That's a good point there. One other thing, Zach, I wanted to point out on there is if you go to the snapshot page, another thing we're working on, we're hoping we can get it into the release by tomorrow. Why don't you go out of staging?
Yeah.
Staging is just a development area, you guys, so that's why things are like that. So what's happening here is we're working on, if you're going to have a goal for each activity, which you do, basically what we want to do is display your goal on here So how's your goal, and how are you pacing against that goal for not only closed units and closed volume, but for everything, right? For open houses, for door knocks, for number of dials, for everything. So if you choose some other category here, again, it will show as an agent and as a team how you're doing compared to your goals. So anyway, that's something we're working on. I'm not sure if we're going to get that in here by this release, but we're hoping to.
So you're saying, Brian, additional trend lines on that snapshot to show how you're pacing towards the goals that you've set. So it's essentially your goal line.
Correct. I'm not sure if it's going to be a line or if it's going to be a bar or what it's going to be right now. We're playing around with that, but yeah, it'll actually show here's my goal and here's where I actually got.
Yeah, that's sweet. Cool. Yeah. So yeah, good time to be doing a goal push with your agents, talking about all that stuff. Another thing that we wanted to go over was, this has always been in the product, so it might be a little hidden, but if you come up into account, there's a goal calculator right here. So this is really useful for new agents, or if you're just wanting to kind of recalculate and just have it do the math for you. You just basically go through all the questions, and it says, okay, I'm doing my own personal goals. How much money you want to make? So I want to make 100,000. What's your average transaction size? This is really the only place where people get a little messed up. Basically what it's asking is, how much commission do you make per deal? So as an agent, if your split's 50% and you're averaging a 3% commission, this number is going to be 1.5, right? So new agent, they're probably going to discount their commission here and there. So they might be like a 1.3 or a 1.4 average per deal, right? If they're getting 2.8 on average for each transaction that they close gross. So does that make sense, Brian?
Yeah.
I'm explaining that good. Cool. You keep going there. If you were to contact 100 leads, how many appointments would you get? Say something like 4 or 3. And then you just kind of walk through it. So you keep going through. You can dial it in if you're, say you're 100% buyers. So let's say this is an agent who is only a buyer's agent, so they'll be working with 0% listings. And then you can even go deeper into this and say, if you went on 10 buyer appointments, how many agreements or how many clients would you win over? We'll say 6. How many of those buyers would eventually end up going under contract? We'll say 80%. And how many of those will, eventually end up closing? We'll say all of them. So that's going to give you a good baseline that you could take these goals, email them to yourself, take a screenshot, whatever you need to do, but take these goals and head back into your goal setup that's going to be new, and you can kind of use this as a baseline place to start building your goals. So we might do some more stuff with this calculator for seasonality, but I do think it'll be a good place to kind of start off and get an idea of where your goals should be.
So Zach, something else that's not coming right now, but that we're looking at before the end of the year is, if you've been on the platform for a year, we know your conversion ratios, we know your average price points, we know your seasonality, we know how many, what percentage of your business is buyers, what percentage is sellers, we know all of that stuff. So ultimately, we're building some basically machine learning that will basically take your last year's data and say, you'll be able to just say, this is how many units I want to close, or this is how much volume I want to close, or this is how much I want to make as an agent. With saying either of those 3 things, we can plug in and say, okay, based on you wanting to make $300,000, this is exactly what you need to do based on your performance.
Yeah, that's slick. I'm excited about that.
So that's coming up as well. Not today, but by year end, we'll have that.
Cool. I love it. Well, that's all I had. I don't know do we want to hop into anything else today, Brian?
Just if people have questions, some people may have questions about the app from last week. I wanted to open it up to that and just get feedback. If anyone has anything they want to discuss about that. I know people have asked, a lot of people have asked, hey, what about the Android app? When is that coming out? And we're just doing final testing on that right now. So we expect that should be this week as well.
Cool. I was gonna say, are we gonna make an Android app? Isn't everyone on iPhone anyways?
Hey, I'm sure there are some Android people out there, Zach, that don't
There's
like.
plenty of Android. They're gonna be sending me hate mail after this.
Let's see.
Cool.
It looks like we have some chat.
Yeah, we had some chat, but I think we've addressed, at least on my end, I think we've addressed everything. Yep. All right. Well, sounds good. Kind of a short one today, but I think this will be useful as you kind of think about going into your business planning. So we doing one next week, Brian, or do we want to start pushing them every other week?
Yeah, I think let's go every other week. The one thing I wanted to say though is just I know that now you guys are planning for next year. Make sure and sit down with your agents when this rolls out. Really put a plan together for their activities as well as planning out their year over year and go through. And I would have them set up their entire next 3 months for the quarter because there's two things you really want to obtain right now as a team leader. I know that since I'm married to a team leader. But really, I know Spring's major goals right now are one, finishing the year strong, making sure her agents know that what they do now today is what is going to pay in December, and do they want to have money for Christmas? So that's one thing. And what they do over the next 90 days, and really November, December, when more than half the people don't work, if you can have a really strong November, December, that's what's going to kick off your January, February, March, and really make your year start off strong. Nobody likes to play catch up. And so if you can start by hitting this time of year, can really make your whole next year. So anyway, that's why we wanted to make sure and get this done for you by early Q1. And so looking forward to hearing more and how this impacts your business, but I think it'll have a really positive impact.
All right. Thanks, Brian. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you.
Thanks, you guys.
Bye.